Cambodia's Prime Minister Hun Sen is set to head to Myanmar tomorrow, with the likely focus on resolving the country's political crisis. The two-day visit is the first by a foreign leader since Myanmar's military seized power last year. There has already been backlash from the pro-democracy camp, as Leong Wai-kit reports.
Cambodia's chairmanship of ASEAN is in the early days, and its stance on Myanmar is of keen interest. At the ASEAN summit last year, Cambodia's Prime Minister Hun Sen chided Myanmar for its absence. The country had refused to send a non-political representative in place of Army Chief Min Aung Hlaing, who was excluded from the meeting after Myanmar failed to make progress on ending violence since the February coup. But things took a different direction by the end of the year. Cambodia appeared to deviate from the position adopted by other ASEAN states. The Myanmar Army-appointed foreign minister visited Cambodia in early December. Mr. Hun Sen announced plans to visit Myanmar to work with its army chief. Cambodia also invited him to attend an ASEAN Defence Chiefs meeting in March. One expert describes Mr. Hun Sen as an enigma.
There are surprises that he will bring. He will not stick to one position or another. I think he will do what is most statesman-like during his year as the chair.
Cambodia says Mr. Hun Sen's trip will focus on discussing what's known as the 5-point consensus. These cover areas agreed upon by Myanmar and the rest of the bloc last April, including ending violence, holding talks with all key stakeholders, and allowing a special envoy into Myanmar to meet them. The coming trip will be significant. Mr. Hun Sen will be the first foreign leader to meet Army Chief Min Aung Hlaing in Myanmar since the coup. It'll also be the first time a special envoy of ASEAN, appointed by Cambodia, will visit the country. But the planned trip has come under fire. 2 bombs went off near the Cambodia embassy in Myanmar on New Year's Eve. Despite such threats, Cambodia says it will carry out its duties as ASEAN chair. One key question ahead of the visit is whether Cambodia can achieve what no one has so far: to meet ousted leader Aung San Suu Kyi, who is in detention, though the Myanmar army has indicated it's unlikely. Another question is whether Cambodia will include Myanmar's army chief in future ASEAN meetings. The answer? Quite likely. At a recent webinar hosted by a Singapore think tank, Cambodia's foreign minister had said, and I quote, "The ASEAN Charter has set no legal basis at all to deny Myanmar participation in its meetings." So, while attention will be on the outcome of Mr. Hun Sen's visit, observers will also look out for the presence of Army Chief Min Aung Hlaing at ASEAN meetings this year. Leong Wai-kit, CNA.